Recently, American animation has been in what married couples would call a dry spell. Now, we're not talking about Disney and Pixar, who continue to throw out some great movies. What we're talking about is more or less television plus streaming animated shows. There really hasn't been a hit for quite a few years. You have shows that sort of do well. You have like a Steven Universe. And you could take a look at newer shows like She-Ra or the Thundercat reboots. This whole Cal art style, which is just horrible. Which is one reason why you see Japanese animation and manga eating American animation's lunch. But let's take a look at the one shining jewel in 2010's American animation crown. And that is Netflix's The Dragon Prince, which just dropped season 3. Dragon Prince fills a void left by the 2000s Avatar: The Last Airbender, and later the sequel to that, Legend of Korra. And yes, I am more a fan of Legend of Korra. But the reason it can fill this so well is one of the series creators is a man named Aaron Ehas, or I believe it's more of a Hungarian pronunciation, Ehas. I don't know. I'm sure someone will complain like usual in the comments. But he was a writer, Futurama, and on the original Last Airbender. So we can expect the same kind of themes. Now, just a quick overview for anyone who's never seen The Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince takes place in a world where half of it is magical and half of it is sort of Middle Ages mundane. And by Middle Ages mundane, what I mean is it's a normal human world with normal human animals and trees and fruits and vegetables and all that kind of stuff, where magic generally does not exist. And then on the other half of the world, you have elves and different magical creatures where magic is in everything. Some point in the past, we don't know exactly what happened. There was a war where this continent was split in half, and you have the 5 kingdoms on the western side and Zadia on the eastern side. It was split in the middle, presumably by a dragon, and it's like this volcanic Mustafarian lava flow that keeps the sides separate, although there is the quote-unquote breach where people can cross over if they are sneaky enough. Now, on the human side, humans are supposedly not connected to the elements, but they can use magic by dark magic. And what that involves is basically consuming the life force of, or life essence, however they want to phrase it, of magical creatures, and then using that to create magic. The elves, on the other hand, on the Zadia side, they have innate connections to certain forms of magic, and they are able to utilize that for different things that are themed, with their magic sphere, I guess you'd say. So in addition to having a writer and a connection to Avatar, we also have one of the main characters, Callem, who's played by Jack Tisena, who played Sokka in Avatar. Now, the main 3 characters in this are Callem, he was the stepbrother of the prince, not good at fighting. He ends up being good at magic. We have Ezran, who is the young prince. They don't say the age, I don't think. He's somewhere between 6 and 8, I would guess, who can talk to animals, and his father gets killed in the beginning. And then we have Rayla, who is an elf who came to assassinate Ezran's dad. But in that attempt, they find a dragon egg. And this egg is sort of the MacGuffin that it needs to go back to its home, and then there can finally be peace between the elves of Zadia and the humans. Whew. Okay, so there's a ton of other people and other things going on. The main ones are, there is a guy named Viren, who is the chief mage of the human kingdom where Ezran and his father live. He is really an evil, scummy guy. He tries to usurp the throne, and he has 2 kids, Claudia, who is also a magic user, and kind of sort of maybe likes Callem, but we're not really sure. And then his braggadocious son, Soren, who thinks very highly of himself, although he is a good fighter. Okay, season 3. So they have made it on their trek. They get to Zadia. Now, in a questionable writing move, you have Callem and Rayla. They continue taking the egg towards the mountain with the dragon. Ezran goes back to briefly retake over the throne, although that only lasts like 2 days or something. And then he basically says, okay, I'm going to give up the throne because 4 other armies come and they say, hey, we are going to attack your kingdom on our way to attack Zadia if you don't join us. So Ezran abdicates, and a bunch of soldiers, they quit the army. They're allowed to leave, no big deal. Viren, who is imprisoned, is now out of prison, and he leads this army Moses-like through a river of fire. He's able to stop it. Now, this is where we get into another character, Aaravos. Now, Aaravos is some kind of elf who was imprisoned, that he is speaking to Viren, and he's manipulating him for some purpose that we don't really understand, although presumably it's to take revenge on the elves and to get Aaravos out of his prison. So Aaravos gives Viren the secrets to all of these means by which to absorb power. There's a group of elves called the Sun Elves. They seems to be matriarchal. They are fierce warriors. They defend the breach against humans coming on through to the other side. They have super duper sharp swords. Very cool overall. And Viren manages to steal their, I don't know what it is. It's like a staff with a star in it or a sun in it or something, that if you're forced to look at it, it can reveal your true nature. He does that, and he kills the queen of the elves. Holy cripes. And in a absolutely cruel move, he taunts her, telling her how her grandmother died before he dissolves her into dust and pushes her off a precipice. Like, dang, that's hardcore. Then we skip a little bit, and we have Rayla and Callem. They find the dragon. They take the baby dragon. The egg had since hatched into a baby. They take it back, and basically they have to defend it because Mama Dragon is heartbroken. So she's, I guess, I can only assume she sort of drank herself into a coma. We're not really sure. But they have to defend it. Meanwhile, the remnants of the humans that left the army, they came, and now they're going to fight. And you have some of the elves who are left. They're going to fight. And holy crap, is this show awesome. Now, look, a lot of it is a little bit hard to get through, to be perfectly honest. Season 1 had a lot of animation problems. And there's a lot of, I don't know how to say it other than like kiddie humor. Like, that someone will... there's parts where Rayla dresses up like a human, and she'll say like, "Ooh, look at me, I'm a human," And it's like, okay, I guess it's humor to appeal to younger children. It's very similar to how Avatar: The Last Airbender season 1 was a lot of like jokey stuff, and the real story didn't really take off until later. And that's sort of what we see here. In season 3, by the end, we're in the final fight. Holy crapes. There's a baker that Ezra used to steal jelly tarts from. It's a running joke. In this final fight, the baker is crushing people's skulls with a wooden rolling pin. Dang! There's a part where part of Viren's army, who is transformed into some sort of half man, half beast type thing, is climbing up a mountain. He's about to kill Callem. Somebody shoots him through the hand, and then another arrow through the head. I mean, they pull new punches. This is one of the best things to me as an adult. It's incredible to watch it because they don't really hide behind the violence. Back in the 80s, you had like war cartoons like G.I. Joe or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and nobody ever got shot. None of the humans ever got shot. They were like laser guns that scared people, and then the bad guys would drop their guns and stuff. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they would only kick robots, not people. This is real people getting hurt in war. And it really makes me wonder the psychology of it. It's more like 80s movies for kids, which tended to be very dark. This also has some dark themes, but the violence is amazing. And it makes me wonder what sort of prompted this, because in some ways it seems like it's trying to be more realistic, but maybe they're trying to get out that, hey, violence has real consequences, which I think is fantastic. And it also makes the stakes higher. If people are getting shot in the face with arrows, you really feel for your characters. We have a scene where we find out what happened to Rayla's parents. Part of her backstory was that her parents abandoned their post, and the dragon egg got stolen, and they just ran away, and we never find out what happened to them. Well, we actually find out that they were pretty much tortured and killed defending that dragon egg. This is an excellent show. This season 3 brings to end the first act, I guess you would say. And part of the question for me is, who exactly is the Dragon Prince? Now, there is, of course, the little baby dragon who his father was the king of dragons. So it would make sense that father king, mother queen, the baby should be the prince. But I'm kind of wondering if they're talking more about Ezran, who is a prince. His father died, and now he needs to grow up to be a man, to take control of this kingdom, hopefully bring peace to the world, or the known world. Or it could actually be his brother Callem. Callem is the only human known who has access to the Sky Arcanum, and that's sky magics, which humans are not supposed to have any connection to any magics. He somehow does. So is he going to be this kind of prince who masters at least one form of magic, if not more? Or what? Or maybe it's all three. We don't know. So I've seen diagrams of how this should work out. The next act, which is always supposed to be the darkest act, there's at least 2 more chapters in it, and maybe 3, and then the final act will have at least 2 chapters, although maybe 3. I think the last one will probably have 2. This is amazing. Now, they leave a lot in the end to really set things up. So Viren dies falling off a cliff, but his daughter Claudia is able to bring him back. And Aaravos, he was communicating with Viren through this little bug thing that kind of attached to Viren's ear, which is very, very cool. And this thing, by the end of the last episode, became sort of like the size of a boa constrictor, I guess you'd say. It has gone off into a corner and it has made itself a cocoon. And nobody knows what's going on in the cocoon. We can see Claudia is starting down the path of evil. She starts off as a normal-looking girl. By using some dark magic in season 2, she gets this white streak in her hair. And at the last episode, she mentioned she brought her father back. And we can see that her hair is half white now. So it's going to be a real interesting thing to see what happens, where we have some characters fully going over, now cooperating, humans and elves, and then we have some other characters who sort of double down on their evil deeds, and Claudia, who is not necessarily evil, but she really believes in her father, she loves her father, she can't believe that he would order the murder of the princes. She acknowledges what he did to his army, and starting this war was horrible, but she's his daughter. She's going to stick with him. I love that writing because that's how people react. There's a lot of times in life where your family member will do something bad or your friends will do something that you know is wrong, but you're going to stick with them. So, at any rate, Season 3 review. Dang, this is good. If you have not watched The Dragon Prince, highly, highly recommended. Yeah, Season 1 has a few dud episodes. It's cool, just get through them. Season 2 gets much better, and Season 3 is fantastic. The next season, theoretically, will be around sometime in the spring. I saw some reports, maybe like April. Go watch it. Go catch up. Great for kids. Although this totally is not a video for kids. If you were watching this and you're a kid, that's wrong. This is only made for adults. Right, YouTube? Just for adults. So go check it out. Holiday breaks are coming up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. Really helps me out. And leave your comment down below. What do you think of The Dragon Prince? Can you wait for the next one like me or no? Thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you all soon.